Well, hello there. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show here on a Saturday morning, recording live on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. That can only mean one thing. It means that it's a pay-per-view weekend. That's why we're here. That's usually what we do on Saturday mornings, is we talk about the pay-per-view that's coming up. And it's WWE TLC that is happening tomorrow on Sunday, December 20th. So that is what we're going to be talking about, previewing the show, predicting. And when I'm saying we, I mean me and my guest who is here today. If you are watching live right now on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes, you know who's here. It's the man, the myth, the beard, Fowl Original, who's joining me today, back again on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. How you doing, Fowly? It's been a while.
I'm very well. Hey, thank you very much for having me, Mr. Warren Hayes. Oh, dude, it's so nice to be on this show. Like we were just saying beforehand, it's such a fun little adventure to pop on here. So thank you very much for having me on. I'm very well.
This is I sincerely, really appreciate it. You've been on the show before, and it was a really good time, and I'm just glad we had the chance to do it again. Now, before we do anything else, before we move forward, and just in case there's some new people appearing into the universe and are like, wait, who is the handsome fellow who plays guitar in the back? Hopefully he can play some Goo Goo Dolls for me later. Why don't you tell the people out there who you are and what it is you do, and so they can sort of like, oh, I understand why he's here now.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. So hi, I'm Fowl Original. You can find me on Twitter at Fowl_Original. Also find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Fowl Original Wrestling. So I am what am I? I am a podcaster / musician / kind of artist / wrestling fan / big mouth. So I think that's why I'm here. But yeah, I do a weekly show every week called the Weekly Wrestling Recap, which happens on a Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. UK time, where we talk about wrestling. It's an interactive live chat. You can get involved, and yeah, it's a thrill ride for 1 hour. It's your 1 hour adrenaline rush.
It's an adrenaline for 1 full hour. 1 full hour. Have you ever heard stories like of grandmothers flipping cars over to save their burning children from a car because of the adrenaline rush? Have you ever heard of these myths? Right? So if you get an adrenaline rush for a full hour listening to Fowl's show, imagine what you can go out and flip then, right? Mm-hmm. When you think about it.
Yeah. You can flip the whole world.
So I would definitely suggest that you listen to his show and then go out there and try to flip shit for science sake. It's science.
Yeah. And let us know what you could flip.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to know. I can put that on like a marquee.
There you go. Exactly. It's a pleasure to have you, Fowl. Thank you again for being here. And thank you to everyone who are watching us live, because I record all of my podcasts live on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. So if you ever want to show up and join the wonderful chat that aggregates here on these mornings or evenings or afternoons, all sorts of moments of the day, then please do jump in, such as JPQ Big Paws on a Pup is here this morning. We've got Jake Daily Accolade as well, and Manny Santos, who is my man on the inside on WWE, who's joining us here as well. Good to have everyone here. Let's get to it then, Fowl. Let's start talking about, and Joe, Go Indie Now, just popped in. Hello. Let's start talking about WWE TLC. I have a Discord, the Mr. Warren Hayes Discord. Shout out, by the way. You should join if you're not already a member. And when I started talking about the preview show, because I chat with the Discord people, I said, doing a preview show this weekend, so on and so forth. There was a contingent of individuals who were like, oh, TLC is this weekend, and I've been noticing this trend, Fowl, quite a bit with WWE pay-per-views, where people are like, oh, we're already having another one, because between now and I think last year it felt a lot more manageable, but are people just dreaming, or what, or is it fatigue? Why do you think people are like, oh, it's happening this weekend? Oh, already. Why do you think that is? I don't know. I need answers.
Like it. It's really weird. We'll try. It's really weird, yeah? Like it's almost like, you're right. There's a pay-per-view, a WWE pay-per-view almost every 2 weeks. Like the NXT takeover one was it's 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? NXT takeover.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main thing is that the WWE used to spread them out all over the place. So we'd get takeovers on a Saturday and they'd be in the same weekend.
Yeah.
I think that now that they're every Sunday, it's taken away that magic a bit, and it does feel like there's about 57 pay-per-views, network specials a year. Like,
true. Good point. We're all about branding here at the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, starring Mr. Warren Hayes, sponsored by Mr. Warren Hayes. But do continue.
And then we've also got all the great wrestling coming from independent promotions, and we've got these massive weekends where, when you think about it, like, I think it's normally like a bit weird when there isn't a pay-per-view on a weekend.
Right.
I expect it to be happening. I think last week I was like, oh, TLC's on this Sunday, isn't it? No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. But it's next week. I was like, oh, so that's not too far away. I think there is a little bit of saturation. I think there is a bit of saturation at the moment. But we get some really interesting pay-per-views. Like, I say this to everyone, the Extreme Rules, the horror show Extreme Rules, what a strange pay-per-view to be happening, but what a surprisingly good pay-per-view, in a terrible, trashy way. But like, what a surprisingly good pay-per-view that we wouldn't have got if it was on the monthly schedule, because it was almost like, well, we've got a special, we better do something, we've invested all the money in this Thunderdome, let's get our investment back.
Need to get some mileage out of it.
Yeah.
But you're making a very good point. I think when you think about it, probably one of the reasons why we feel that way is because the takeovers have become their own thing, and I think that's part and parcel of it, because the takeovers would only accompany the big pay-per-views, right? The SummerSlams, WrestleManias, and Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. You'd have your takeover there, which would be on the Saturday, so it would become like a big weekend of WWE wrestling. Like, the event would be the wrestling that weekend, as opposed to now where you on top of your regular WWE main roster pay-per-views, you have the NXT ones. I think it's getting I guess in a certain way we've doubled the output, when you think about it. Well, I mean, there haven't been takeovers every month, I don't think, but still, there's been an increase on that front for sure.
Plus of course, Raw. I mean, Raw being 3 hours now feels like a pay-per-view in itself. Sometimes we even get WrestleMania type quality matches. Well, every week according to Cole, but like, but it's a pay-per-view in itself. It feels like it sometimes, doesn't it?
It does, and it's weird because there are some pay-per-views that are shorter than Raw. Like, wasn't it Payback this year that was like 2.5 hours, and it was a breeze to watch, and you're like, and then you go back to Raw, the weekly thing, and you're like, Jesus, like your big show the night before was such a joy to sit back and watch, and then you sit down for the 3 hours. But okay, well, let's talk about Raw. I think it's one of the big stories of this past month or so, because I always like to go back a few weeks leading up to the pay-per-view. One of the big stories is, how much, and everyone knows I'm not a big ratings guy. Like, I don't dissect and sit around and argue with people in regards to ratings, but it's hard to avoid this news. Ratings have been in a nosedive. AEW on a Wednesday beat out Raw in one of the key demos. I don't know, but the point is that Raw isn't doing well. Surprise, surprise. So at this point, when we get to this point where we're like, there's 3 hours of Raw every week, and we're having, do you find that we're having trouble getting hype for a pay-per-view? Because it's not just Raw, SmackDown as well, but specifically Raw these days is, you know, it's been a rough watch. Let's put it that way. I think I'm being kind. But it's been a rough.
That's real kind.
It's been a rough watch. How has that? Has it contributed in being in finding it a little difficult to get hyped for pay-per-views?
Like it's really weird. Like obviously I'm from the UK, so to watch Raw, I've got to stay up all night. It starts at 1 a.m. here, and it normally ends. Well, it feels like it ends at like 2 o'clock the next week, but it ends at like. But it ends at about 5 o'clock in the morning, so 4 or 5 in the morning. Yeah, by the time you got to sleep. So normally, it's hard to get hyped for Raw, and then the pay-per-views, like they tend to be quite hard to get hyped for because Raw's normally quite terrible. But Raw in itself is like sometimes a good show, sometimes a great show, sometimes a terrible show. It doesn't seem to ever really have that like middle ground. And so for me, I'll stay up for the pay-per-views, but I find it hard for Raw because it's almost like they've like creative have made us feel stupid for watching every week because, and I'll take this as just a very quick case in point, but like Raw Underground, I kind of liked Raw Underground. It was trashy. It was weird. It was strange. It came out of nowhere, and it was a nice departure from what was already happening. And then it got done up, and then like there was a million camera shots, and then it just got done. It was just gone. And like
when you said done up, okay, I thought it, like what the Kevin Dunn. Okay, yes.
Oh yeah, little done up. It got done up, so there was like camera shots everywhere. There was like 25 camera shots for a 15 sec, like no, for a 0.5 second like bit of TV.
No, I know exactly what you mean now. No, I thought it was like done up. I thought this was like some quaint British slang that I was unaware of. You know, oh, it's been done up, mate. So, okay, no, but no, it's Kevin Dunn. Okay.
It's been done right, wrong, Governor.
See?
Right, wrong. Well, actually, to be fair, yeah, there is a phrase. You've been done, mate. So, I mean, that's what happened. It got done. So,
it works both ways.
Done. Yeah, exactly. And like, if you were a fan that was invested in Raw Underground and you were like, you know what, like, I'm watching every week for Underground, you'd be like, they took it away from me. They took it away, and I don't want to watch anymore. And so there's been loads of weird experiments on Raw, but getting hyped for a pay-per-view is hard because just as you said, sometimes you come back to Raw and it's like longer than the pay-per-view and nothing happens.
And yeah,
like nothing's actually happened.
I don't think, by the way, I want to say hello to Aaron Entertainment, Reese on Wrestling, and Tim Traver for all joining us in the chat. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome. Here's the thing, right? Also at the same time, these are the solutions that WWE comes up with to say, hey, you guys aren't interested in our product anymore, so let's do Raw Underground. Let's do the wild card rule. Let's do you guys are the authority, right? Let's do these things to try and when the very essence of why you watch is the wrestling. And I've been talking about this on my podcast that you can watch every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Come join me live. I've been saying this. If Raw, because just this Monday, we had that 6-man tag match, the New Day and Jeff Hardy versus the Hurt Business, which was great. You had Sheamus versus AJ Styles, which was really good. And I sit back and I look at that and I'm like, if WWE focused on wrestling and giving us matches, I think, because it's not like they don't have the talent. It's not as if they don't have world-class athletes there that can pull it off. They do. They have absolute 100% mega talented people that can go and give us exciting matches on Monday nights. But they prefer to swamp it into that. That's not an expression. I'm creating something here. Prefer to smother it in interviews and nonsense and drawn out unnecessary angles where you're like, just give us the stories from the ring. Give us the stories in wrestling. And I think that's one of the reasons why AEW works so well, because you tune into AEW and you know what you're going to get. You're going to get wrestling. And per minute, you have more wrestling on AEW than you do on both shows, on Raw or SmackDown combined. Last night on SmackDown, we got the first in-ring bell call at the 27-minute mark. Foul.
See, that was really weird yesterday. Like, I've always preferred SmackDown over Raw because it's a shorter show. It's on a Friday night. So for me, UK boy, I'm like, I could sit up and watch it. And like, it's no issue. And it's normally a really fun show. It
normally is.
But yesterday, you're right, actually. Like, Kevin Owens came out. And I remember thinking that. I was like, we haven't started SmackDown with like an opening talkie segment for that long, for a long time. Normally very quick talkie segment recently and then straight into wrestling. And like, talking about the wrestling matches, yesterday we had Shinsuke Nakamura go up against Otis in like a 2-minute match, and Shinsuke came out like he was coming out for like a really big match. Like, came out like he had like new gear or whatever. He came out with the tails.
I'm ready to fight Shibata, like, kind of shit. Exactly.
Yeah. And I was like, what is going on? And especially when like the caterpillar got interrupted, I was like, okay, we are telling a story in this very short match, but this is the only wrestling match, and you can kind of flip that over with what happens in Dynamite. And we got like an absolute crazy tag team match with like 100 people in the other day. And you know what? It made sense. And that kicked off the show. Like, Dynamite
starts. I don't want to do a tit for tat thing, but I think it's really important to, because for a bunch of reasons, you know, I think they're two different products in it, but and everyone will find whatever they want in it, and I agree. But the thing is that you're right. That Dynamite systematically starts with a match, and it starts with an exciting match to be like, oh, well, I'm going to stick around for the rest. If I come in and I see low energy stuff from Roman Reigns or Kevin Owens, God bless them, I love them both. Don't that's not the point, but it's like, my God, this is not what I'm tuning in for. I want to watch pro wrestling. Just give me the pro wrestling. Oh, well, we can do, we do comedy just like on other shows. I will watch other shows if I want comedy. I will watch other shows if I want high drama. I am coming here to watch wrestlers, athletes do choreographed pretend fights. That's what I'm coming here to watch. If I want to watch high drama, I'm going to watch Mr. Robot. You know what I mean? I'm going to watch Hannibal. That kind of stuff.
I think with that point, and I think you've made that there, Dynamite aren't afraid to be a wrestling show, and they wear that on their sleeve, and they start the show going, you're tuned in now at the we're not going to trick you and say like, oh, there's going to be like a love triangle between like people. This is a wrestling show. If you stick around for the wrestling, we'll give you some of the other stuff after. Yeah. We're not saying that you're not going to get that drama, but we're telling you right now, we're a wrestling show. Turn the channel if you don't want to watch it. We don't want you here and then to dip. We want you to stay. And I think that's a good significant difference.
Because that's exactly what WWE is. WWE is the opposite. It's like, we're going to give you the entertainment plus some wrestling. You know? We're going to give you Sami Zayn giving out awards. Oh, and by the way, there's going to be a match after. You know, but that's a really, really good point. Because you're still, on AEW, you're still going to get MJF and Chris Jericho doing musical numbers, but it's going to be later on in the show. It's not going to kick everything out. And then after, what's going to happen? Hey, you're going to get a wrestling match. You know, it's like, let's move along. You know, we're back to basics. That's a really good point. Want to say hello to Mags, the man himself, who has joined us this morning. It's on we're on UK time today, so there you go. That helps.
Look at that, Magsy. How you doing? Afternoon, evening.
All right, let's get to it then. Let's start talking about the pay-per-view in and about itself. I will be reading off the matches in reverse order as they are presented to us on WWE.com. So I'm not making stuff up. I'm not saying this should finish the show. I'm just going with their selections. So there you go. the Raw Tag Team Champions, The New Day, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, going to take on the Hurt Business, specifically Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. We've been seeing this iterations of this match for the past 4 weeks now. Foul. And we actually saw this match twice in the same evening a couple of weeks ago. This exact match. And yet here we are.
Yeah. Like it just goes to show how terribly the tag division is like handled in the WWE, doesn't it? Like, we know this match is going to be on the pre-show and kind of assume that we know who's going to win this. Like, and again, nothing against the talent in this match.
No,
both
absolutely
amazing teams. And those two matches beforehand, they were really good. And they got something different there. But it is the same match, and it feels like it's been overdone already, when it may have, like, this is the kind of match that could have been quite nice, maybe in a tournament style thing, like a best of series, like New Day versus the Hurt Business and like a best of 5. And this was one of those matches. But on its own, I think we'll get a good match. And you know, props to Cedric Alexander for getting like a decent role now on the main roster after joining the Hurt Business. He's like night and day now. Like,
absolutely.
I feel like he's got a much better spot and respect from the back and from the fans by just being in the Hurt Business. What a great way to elevate everyone. MVP has been an absolute jewel. Absolute jewel.
Can you believe? Did you have this on your bingo card, your 2020 bingo card? Have MVP being one of the reasons to watch Raw. Like, it's wild. Like, he's been doing absolutely, I agree, absolutely fantastic work.
It's, you know, you look at someone like MVP, and I think it's like really interesting to draw the parallel between someone like a Goldberg and like an MVP.
Please do.
Like, MVP is like, yeah. And I'm like, MVP is someone that's like, I want to come back to wrestling. I want to show my kids, you know, that I could do it. And then I did it at one time. He has his match, he has his few matches, and then he's out. And then he's like, you know what, actually, I love this business. I bloody love this business. I want to be a manager and maybe have a few matches here and there. And then instead of just himself and, like, you know, increasing the mystique around him, he's like helped to bring Bobby Lashley to a respectable situation. Like Shelton Benjamin, who was floundering for so long. And Cedric Alexander as well. And to be honest, he even gave a bit of a rub to Ricochet when Ricochet was kind of maybe joining the Hurt Business. Like, MVP is like he is the kind of person that should be coming back. One of the older legends that, someone's bringing a car outside my house. You wanted to hear that vibration.
Makes me all tingly when I hear that kind of vibration.
It's like a really guttural one. It's a nice one. But yeah, it's just fantastic. And like, I love the fact that we've got someone like MVP come back and everyone's like, oh, hope he doesn't wrestle, he's past it. To see how great he is, to have someone like Goldberg, hope he wrestles because he's not past it. Wait a second.
And imagine that. He, like you said, he comes back and what does he do? He elevates the other talent. He elevates the younger talent that can, I mean, you know, it's not as if Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin are that old, but Cedric Alexander is definitely getting a huge bump out of this. You know, he's elevating other guys. Go figure. Where Goldberg instead just comes back to fight the big people in the company, right? Anyway, I'm not getting into a Goldberg rant this morning. Absolutely not. But yeah, no, I completely agree. And Shelton Benjamin, like you said, a whole other, not Shelton Benjamin. Well, Shelton Benjamin is, over the past couple of weeks, I think he's reminded people just how good he still is. And to me, that's a big deal. But Cedric is benefiting so much out of this. It's crazy. But the Hurt Business has really been super entertaining. And you pointed it out as well. It re-elevated Bobby Lashley out of maybe a mid-card status. Now he's starting to feel like a threat. I really feel like they are building him as a legitimate threat to Drew McIntyre, because he's been super protected since winning the US title, and they don't protect that a guy so blatantly if they don't have something, if they don't have a I don't say a plan anymore when it comes to WWE, a project. Let's put it that way. They have a project for it.
I mean, that's the right phrase, isn't it? Because projects can be changed, and so can plans.
Exactly.
Cards.
A plan implies, implies thinking down the road, putting milestones, and just like having a project is anyway. I honestly, the Hurt Business has been gold. It's been gold, and it's mostly been attributed to the work of MVP. I agree. Chat, let us know who you think is going to win here. The Hurt Business, are they going to become new tag champions? Is the New Day going to retain? What do you think, Fowley? What's going to happen here?
So I'm hoping that the New Day retain. And I know that I've just sat there and put over the Hurt Business, but that's the great thing about the Hurt Business. They don't need the win. And that's the great thing about the New Day in this situation. I don't feel they need the win either. It might be nice to have Cedric and Shelton Benjamin as that really tough, workhorse tag team. But we already know that the tag team division is a little bit of an afterthought on Raw on both shows. So it might be nice to just see them have this feud go on, New Day versus Hurt Business. Maybe this is the end of that, or maybe it goes through to January. But I'm thinking the New Day win, because I think it slowly angers the Hurt Business, and it means that they'll go and pick on some other people and go beat them up for a bit, which is the cool thing about the Hurt Business. They're like the jocks.
They do. They do. Well, I think the Hurt Business are going to win here. Otherwise, what were all these matches for? I think this really has to culminate in the Hurt Business getting the win here, and if only because Cedric Alexander has been putting in work and is fantastic, and I think it will help elevate him just a little tad more. They're doing great. So I think why not start 2021 with the Hurt Business having all the mid-card gold, right?
Yes.
I think that'd work. So that's my prediction. So we're at odds here, but that's fine.
God dang it, to start
Straight
with.
off the bat. Oh, here we go, though. Next match we're going to talk about is the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. It's going to be on the line. Nia Jax, locker room leader and safe worker, and Shayna Baszler, versus Asuka and a mystery partner. I have many thoughts about this whole situation, but I'm going to pass on to you because you are the guest. I don't want you to start us off.
Okay.
Tell me about this whole situation.
So for some reason, Nia Jax. Okay, actually, let's just go back a tiny bit. For some reason, the Iconics were broken up a month or so ago, and when they were broken up, it was due to Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler becoming the champions, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Now, since then, I don't really understand what kind of relationship Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler have. It seems to not be Nia Jax seems to be very happy to be an unsafe worker within the storyline as well. It's really weird. But for some reason, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax are now a tag team, and they don't want to be a tag team, but they are a tag team now. And so it's the old story of, the two opposites that got put together and they got to work together. And since then, they've held the championships, but I don't understand why. But I know that they haven't really done anything with that other than now we've got Asuka teaming up with someone to challenge them for the Raw, not the Raw Tag Team Championships, for the Women's Tag Team Championships. But I don't really understand this match. Like, I don't understand why it's happening.
Look, here's the thing. And I want to say hello to Nails and NY, who just joined us. Hello. Here's the thing. This whole match was built off the back of Lana, right? Of the whole thing with Lana and Nia Jax putting Lana through tables, through the commentary table week after week and discrediting her and build basically like I used to joke, like I joke around and say, trying to build Lana as the next Johnny Gargano, right? This come from behind penultimate underdog babyface because she kept getting pummeled and whatnot. Then all of a sudden pulls out this great one-time victory thing. I'm like, okay, this whole match, Fowl, was built on that foundation. She pinned Shayna Listen, hang on a second. Lana pinned Shayna Baszler not once, but twice in the course of their matches. Last Monday night, she pinned Nia Jax in the ring. She wins. She is the sole survivor of Survivor Series. So we are coming to a point where we're like, okay, so, and then she recruits Asuka to help her in this. Okay, she's like, Asuka, I need help. Asuka's like, okay, I'm on your side. This is cool beans. So we get to this match that we're having here on Sunday, and we're like, finally, Lana is gonna get, this is Lana's moment. She's gonna get some gold. Good for her. We're rooting for you, Lana. What do? They pull her out of the match. This is absolutely dirtbag, incomprehensible, scum-worthy storytelling, incapable of maintaining a tale that will keep us interested in a match. Because as it stands, there is no reason for this match to happen. Why does Asuka was there to help out Lana. Now Lana's gone. Asuka should be at home going like, why am I going to fight? I don't want the tag titles. I'm the champ. Lana's gone. I mean, she should be like, forget this. We'll do this again when Lana's back. Right?
See, like the whole Asuka thing, I think Asuka had nothing better to do. Well, like, that's what it felt like back then. It's like Lana's like, hey, what you doing? And Asuka's like, nothing. Hey, do you want to join a tag team? Yeah, why not? Let's be tag teams together. All right. Now, for some reason, the person that had the idea has now got pulled out of it. That's so
and
weird,
our whole reason to be invested in this match, Fowl. It's not just it's not because of Asuka that we're, let's see this match. It's because of Lana. It's the whole being put through tables through commentary tables for months and being picked on and laughed at. I thought it was an angle that had its ups and downs. It wasn't perfect, but I don't think it was complete garbage either. But this was the match that was supposed to be like the payoff, the denouement, if you prefer. Now it's like, no, we're doing something else. To me, it's the encapsulation of everything that's wrong with WWE storytelling.
It's like, I think you put it there as well, right? Like, we always sit here, and I think like a lot of wrestling fans and pundits like are very, very guilty of saying, hey, we want long-term storytelling from the WWE, and then they get it, and then we get it, and then it's like, we don't want to invest that time into it. But this was a story that everyone was investing time in, and it was almost like we'd hear messages from Lana, especially watching that documentary, the Lana documentary on the network, about, like, it even felt like that documentary was a kind of like, hey, I've been kicked around, and people make fun of me and they say I'm not good enough, but just you watch, because next week I'm gonna defeat the table. And then, like, the next week, she was sole survivor and stuff. And I can remember going, okay, that's quite cool. But was that the end of the story then? Was that her only highlight? And she slipped that one in as well. That was a bit kind of, I happen to be the sole survivor.
which is true. I think that one of the reasons why maybe people weren't keen on this angle is because you didn't have many favorites. It was involving people who I think are naturally disliked from the fans. Nia Jax, Lana wrestling, right? I don't think it's as much Lana as Lana wrestling that was the problem, because then people are like, why aren't you pushing Shayna Baszler like proper, right? Why aren't you giving more time to Peyton Royce? You just split her up from the Iconics. Why isn't she getting a position? Because she's an actual wrestler kind of thing, where Lana she's a wrestler in training. Bless her heart. It's not and I have seen her improve. I've seen her do things week after week where I'm like, oh, she's been in the ring. She's been trying stuff out. She's been training. But at the same time, like I say, like I understand why they did the angle with Asuka. At the same time, if you want a wrestler to improve, you put them with elite talent that will help them get elevated when it's time to perform. So you put her with Asuka. I mean, what a great performer to follow. Shayna Baszler, same thing. Nia Jax, put her in the ring with Nia Jax. She's going to learn nothing. She will learn nothing from Nia Jax.
No, but she'll learn what not to do. Maybe that's why they put her with her. They were like, hey, go with Nia Jax for a bit. Why? You'll see.
We'll see. So listen, we've been over this, but there's a surprise coming. There's a surprise partner for Asuka who's coming up. They haven't revealed it, so they're working off of this. Who is going to be the surprise, Fowl? Who do you think it's going to be?
I think it's going to be Lana in a luchador mask. Like, seriously, because you know what I mean? Because, like, why not? Because why not?
People are going to be so mad.
I know it, and that's why.
Oh, brother. Like, I can see that happening too. I can definitely see it happening. It's just yeah. Personally, I think they're bringing Charlotte back. I think this is where they bring her back.
You know what? I do agree with you, because I've seen a lot of I've seen a few things that were put out and about. I think there was a picture that went out about the Thunderdome and TLC, and there was a shot for TLC, and they used an old composite picture of Charlotte and Asuka in the ring as part of that, as the build for TLC, just them chatting in the ring. And you know what? It would make a lot of sense, and it would be a nice way to kind of open up that intrigue for the rest of the year. And she has not been
going
anywhere.
Into Royal Rumble. I know a lot of people have been saying save her for Royal Rumble. Sure. I mean, the thing is that what do you save Charlotte for when Royal Rumble time comes around? We're expect.
Are you saving her for the Rumble pop?
But
the thing is, who are we saving for a Rumble pop? There is no such thing as a Rumble pop.
And we're all going to be expecting Charlotte to be back for the Royal Rumble regardless. Like, it's not going to be that much of a surprise. We're going to be like, well, of course she's back. Whereas if she shows up at TLC, we're like, oh, okay, and they're ready for it. And you know what I like about this story, especially if they spin it this way, because Charlotte is Asuka's, I wouldn't say nemesis, but she has Charlotte has Asuka's number, right? So if Asuka's going into this match and she's like, okay, fine, if I have to do it, well, why don't you go get that one person that you as a competitor is like, this person, I can't beat her, or I have a really hard time defeating this woman. This is the person I want on my side then, right? Someone who can, to me, it makes sense, but then they have to win the titles, don't they? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. They'd have to, wouldn't they?
It's a weird one. It's a weird, but here's the thing. See, I'm saying, if to your point, if Lana comes back in a lucha mask, like the Spider Lady or whatever, it's like, if she comes back in a mask, people are going to be angry. But if Charlotte comes back, people are going to be angry too. So,
Yeah. Oh, if Lana wins the match and then Charlotte is backstage and then they're both there, they're both wearing the suits and they both do the Spider-Man point at each other. You know what? Yeah. They take the mask off. because it could be either of them. But but no, I would love. You know what? As a tag team, I think that they'd be really cool as well. If the point of it is to elevate the women's tag team championships, having those two, it almost has that kind of like Jericho feeling to it,
Right.
like that when Jericho and it like elevates the titles and it makes everyone, it's two champions with it, kind of like when Bayley and Sasha had it. It could be quite interesting.
My wish is that this match happens, Nia and Shayna split up, and Shayna gets a proper singles run on main. Ultimately, that's what I'm looking for. But who do you think is going to win here? I think it's going to be Asuka and her mystery partner. I think we get new women's tag champions.
Mm-hmm. I mean, whoever her champion, sorry, her championship, whoever her co-champion becomes, they will become the champions. And yeah, I think it's Asuka and the mystery opponent.
Next match we are going to be talking about is the SmackDown Women's Championship. Sasha Banks, champion, versus Carmella, whose gimmick I believe is upper middle class bougie lush, I would say.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we have this.
Who carries a sommelier around, with wine all over the place? If you're not like, hey, how's everybody doing? Slurpity slurp,
Yeah. Like I imagine her to be like her gimmick to be based off Lucille Bluth, like when she was younger from Arrested Development.
That would actually be funny. That would actually be great. Like if she got really, really Lucille levels nasty, that would be really funny. But no, instead we're getting this. I don't even know how to I don't know how to feel about this match, really. Like, here's the thing, is that I like Carmella, and I know, I like Carmella. I think she's the type of person that WWE really, really likes, because whatever she's given, she will get the max out of it, right? She will do, like when she was paired with R-Truth, right? Like she made it her own. She went all in with it, and they were a fun pairing. And when she was paired with James Ellsworth, God bless her, she did the most out of that as well. There's and the thing is I really find that she's improved every year. She's been getting better and better. Code of Silence is a fucking great finisher, and not necessarily one that's easy to lock in. I think she's really good at what she does. Sasha, I think, Sasha's fantastic. That's cool. I think she has a new level of confidence. I find she's been carrying herself much differently since winning the title, and I can get behind that. But man, this match doesn't have the heat for me, man.
Like, I think what's really weird about both of these characters is Sasha Banks, even though she had a little face turn, she still is kind of a heel, and Carmella is also a heel. And when you put them together, like, I think to your point about Carmella, I absolutely agree. She kills it every single time she's given a particular like direction to go in. She'll just go for it. And like, she's been really hamming up this performance, and it's been sublime every single time. It's so cheesy. Like, even yesterday when on SmackDown, when she's like, oh, I don't like that champagne, it's cheap and it's a little just like Sasha. And I was like, oh my God, I knew she was going to say that. But that's what you love about her. And that's what really kind of drew me to Carmella as a character, especially this version. Sasha, yeah, she has got that confidence. I think everything that's been going on outside of the world of wrestling, and her kind of finding her voice again, and really being given a chance to hold the title for longer than 30 seconds after winning it, that's definitely helped. And this match, like, it almost feels a little too quick.
Yeah, it does.
And like, you could have maybe baked this up to the Rumble. Like it might have felt a bit better.
I agree, because I don't think the build has been good, you know? They had their match last week, right? They already had the match last week, and I was like, you know, it just, they could have kept them away from each other. And this is such a weird, it's such a weird WWE thing to do at the same time. Like, if you're promoting this big match, then keep them away from each other. You know, why would you give us the match and then say we're having the match again? It's so strange to me. It's really, really strange.
And like even the interview segments between them, they've been quite, like yesterday's interview segment was what would have been a contract signing again, I guess. Like, I'm sorry, I know that's a verboten phrase in here, but like, and it should have been, yeah. But instead, it was like a champagne signing, because it was just like, hey, we're just gonna have like a drink in the ring. Like, that's all it was. It wasn't even like it meant anything. Just like, hey, I'm just gonna have a drink in the ring and you can't stop me. And then Sasha turns up and stops her, and I was like, oh, all right. Why? Why even have that?
Well,
why would you be like, if you're Carmella, why would you be stupid enough to be there? Because she wasn't well protected.
No, she wasn't.
At all. Sommelier went straight. Like, that was stupid.
Wasn't. And I really doubt. If I'm Carmella, I'm firing that sommelier, because last week when he brought the champagne to the ring, he brought Corbel champagne, which is like $12 American a bottle. It's the wine it's the champagne you want to get drunk on, you know, because you want to feel but you're broke, you know. But that's what it is. And then this week she takes one of the glasses and she goes, oh no, I don't like it. It's like, what the fuck is your guy? Bounce that dude's ass. He's a horrible sommelier. Hit the brakes, pal.
I don't even think it's sommelier. I think he's just like her mate or something that she says, yeah, like in storyline. Because I was watching him and, like, you know, I used to work in bars, yeah, and a sommelier doesn't stand there with another glass having a drink with you.
No.
Yeah. The sommelier, like, and he was there, and like while she's having her little drink, he just stood there with a glass himself. I'm like, wait a second, is he a volunteer?
I think he's a
like, is he a volunteer sommelier?
If she did hire him as a sommelier, he's a fraud. He's a 100% fraud. I don't know about this match. Hopefully, well, I mean, like, I'm not excited for it. Like, they didn't make it for me, but I mean, I still want to see it. I'm thinking it'll be entertaining. Who do you think is winning here, though? That's the most important question.
I really, truly hope it's Sasha. I really, really hope that this isn't, hey, Carmella's doing really well, let's give her the title, because I think Carmella as this character is quite nice to kind of constantly be bickering with people. But I think it would be really nice, and I say this in the nicest way, for Sasha to end this year as champ. So I'm hoping Sasha.
I don't see her dropping the title at all. At all. Want to say hello to Kristen Ashley, who just popped into the chat. Hello, darling. She says, everything sounds smarter when you're British.
I only put this accent on. I'm not even really British.
To sound smarter. There you go.
Yeah, thanks, Kristen.
Next we have a Firefly Inferno match. Randy Orton versus the Fiend. Now, I like the idea that they're revisiting this. Okay? I like the idea, and they've dove into the history. That's cool. The setting shit on fire. That's Randy's MO with Bray. It's all good. And honestly, you know, to me, Bray was the biggest babyface in that match, in that whole storyline. The guy has his house. They burned down. Arson, man. How are you not supposed to feel for Bray Wyatt at that point? It's like, my God, this is horrible. What the fuck is a Firefly Inferno match? Foul.
So, okay, so when we were in here in the UK, yeah, and if anyone gets a chance after, like Nails will know this, and a few other people might, is there used to be this safety video, and it was about fire, and it was about like not playing with matches. And basically, there's this little Firefly, and he burns down like the whole of the Firefly city because he's playing with a match because he's not old enough to have a Firefly yet. Anyway, this is totally not connected to this, but I thought it would be a nice connection, yeah. Afterwards the king tells him off for like, you shouldn't go around with matches, like, so that's a nice thing that you guys can watch when you get a chance. But
we'll find it and we'll link it in the description.
Yeah, find it. I'll find the link for you. I'll send it to you so you can link it in there because it's a really funny thing. But I think that's where we're going with this. But a Firefly Inferno match. So does that mean that Bray Wyatt burns down Randy's house now? Like, is that what we do? Because
he locked him in a crate. I think he locked him in a crate. Orton locked Wyatt in a crate, then set fire to it, right?
Yeah. So like this is the escalation, isn't it? So I think next thing, I guess Bray just turns up at Randy's house and just leaves the gas on and runs out. Like, is that what he does?
There's a bunch of things that can cause sparks, like two woolen socks pressed up against each other.
He takes a plug and plugs 7 plugs into a multi-plug and then he just runs away. Like, I don't like. I think it would be nice. I think you're right. Like revisiting it, it's really cool. And like, I don't know if people have seen the poster for TLC. Like, there's been a new WWE poster that's come out, and it's Bray Wyatt, and then coming out of his head are old things that have happened. So you get to see like Bray, and there's like Randy from that
feud
in Firefly. Well, yeah, from the feud that they had. I think I'm hoping that it's. I think we're probably going to get something closer to the swamp.
Oh, you think it's going to be cinematic?
Then we're going to get close to it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where it's going to go with it. I think a cinematic match, but closer to the swamp match, where there wasn't really any kind of finish. It just finished, and I think that's what we're going to see. And unless this is just a, I think it will be a cinematic match, but maybe closer to that swamp match, and probably in a lot of ways very close to the Cena match.
Okay.
So just a look back at their history, but yeah, what a way to like intrigue everyone, because I don't know what the hell that kind of match is, and I'm like ready to stay up on Sunday night now to find out.
So the what I find interesting here, if they really wanted to go cinematic and they did want to do something close to the Firefly Funhouse match, like you said, the Cena match, Randy Orton is a perfect candidate for it. Because one of the reasons why Cena worked so well is because of his extremely long history in WWE, right? The slight controversies, as to whether or not he's burying talent, whether he's just looking out for himself, all these rumors and what's the word I'm looking for? These intentions that were pushed onto John in certain narratives. Orton is the same, and Orton, on top of that, he's been suspended from WWE. There's the handshakes. That whole stories. Like there's more than enough there. Being called boring, right? There's more than enough here to give us a proper Firefly Funhouse match, but in a retrospect of everything that Randy Orton has done, turning on Evolution, all that stuff, Question is if
Alexa was still about, then we could have started the whole feud with her going, "What's this in my handbag?" But that would be a crap song.
Oh, thank you. There you go. Like, that would have been really good, though. Like a nice little bing, little reference there.
A little nugget of joy.
That's really funny. That's really funny. But look, I mean, we'll see how much effort they actually put into this. I don't know what to expect here. Should we even predict a winner? Like, should we even say? Like for me, like if I were to come in here and be like, I think the Fiend needs a win. I think the Fiend needs to continue this, continue coming across as being semi-invincible because, thank you, Bill Goldberg. I think he needs to at least stand tall, whatever shape or form this match takes. He needs to be standing proud at the end.
I think you're right. Yeah, there isn't going to be a winner per se. But I think, yeah, he definitely has to be standing tall. You have to at least feel like he's got the better of Orton, even if he's got beaten badly or whatever. It's like, hey, I made you think about stuff, Orton. Like, that's what you want it to be, don't you? I think that's the Fiend's greatest power, I think, within storyline, is to make people kind of go through that period of self-reflection. I think it'd be quite cool.
There's something deep and dark inside of me that wants this match to end up back in the ring, and they're projecting maggots and cockroaches in the ring again. Like, it was horrible when they did that with the House of Horrors match. It was so bad. But I kind of want that. Just at least if Bray can make fun of it, I think it'd be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, and we need a return of the fridge.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We need the fridge. The fridge has to get its comeuppance. Got to say hello to All Love here, who's in the chat. Good to see you. And to Benoit Parizet, who has joined us. Welcome. We are in the home stretch here. Universal Champion Roman Reigns is going to take on Kevin Owens in the first of two tables, ladders, and chairs matches. I'm excited for this one, Fowl. I'm going to lead you off with that.
Is this the sorry, was that the Universal one or the
it's the Universal
WWE
title?
Yeah, Universal.
Yes, Roman Reigns and Kevin.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, so I've been very excited for this one. This has been one of my highlights of SmackDown every single week. Like, as I said, I love SmackDown, and this has been great. And even yesterday, this whole "I'm not afraid of you" storyline is just it's beautiful. Like, it fits the Kevin Owens character as well. Like, it fits that kind of, I don't care, like, who are you to tell me what to do? I know who I am. And like, almost as a comparison between him and the way that Sami Zayn operate. Like, they kind of operate in this kind of their own way, don't they? They're like, hey, we don't care. Like, we're just gonna do what we want. And okay, yesterday, maybe that was a little too far with burying him with like the whole of every single implement in TLC, and then he'd be like, I got up, I'm up, man. Don't you worry about it. Like, that was
you know what much. I would have done, just as a quick parenthesis, if I had been booking it, booking that, Roman and Jay go back and they see him on the screen getting back up, and you know what, they're like, let's go back, and they go back and they beat the shit out of him some more. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, man, because if they saw that, if you've just thrown like everything onto him and he's got up, and because you're right, actually, because every single week he ends it with Roman watching him on TV and him like,
exactly. And I mean, he just cut a very generic promo at the end. It's like, this Sunday at TLC, I'm going to win. So it's like, take that moment instead to have Roman and Jay come back and just tar him with some more chair shots, just beat on him some more. Fade to black. That's how I would have ended it, Yeah, man.
Like, you know what? I think that's something with this storyline where it's been built really well. Like, I love this whole, like, started with Kevin Owens going to Jey Uso. Hey, man, I ain't afraid of your cousin. And he's like, cuz he ain't afraid of you. And he's like, make him afraid of me. And like, even like, I loved it. Like, it's such melodrama. But I loved, like, go out there, end him, finish him. And then you've got like the cute little Heyman running around like a little puppy dog going, oh my god,
he's like, what's going on? This is horrible. He's got his hands over his mouth.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it because it's so over the top, but and he's become like a melodramatic villain. Like, he's become a caricatured villain for that second. And I think that's where it's hard. Like, you've got to kind of almost dial him back a bit, because it's almost becoming like a parody of itself when you've beaten the crap out of someone that badly, and you've like thrown everything at them and you've ECW'd them, and that should be the final shot, and then everyone's no, he's survived. Like, I just talked about this before. I watched Armageddon 2000 the other week and Kane couldn't get out. during that last man standings match of just some generic like barrels. Yeah, he got his arm out, but that was it. You telling me Kevin Owens is stronger than Kane? Like, is that what we're saying?
Personally, I believe it. I think mayorship makes you soft. Personally, I think that's the thing.
It's true, actually. It's true, and it's all those trips over to Saudi. Like they don't help either. Help. So like
all that food,
but yeah, just goes right through you. But like I think the really interesting thing about this match though is I feel like this is it's great for Roman. We're getting to see a really cool like foil for him, someone that isn't intimidated, someone that wants to show him like the error of his ways. And it's he said something yesterday, Roman, which again I just loved. He started his promo with, "Look, man, I'm not a bad guy. I just got to do things to remain being the guy."
Nice little
and
throwback,
I thought, well, that's cool. Yeah, because that's really cool. Because it, as we've said, many people have said, like the best villains are the ones that believe that they're doing the right thing. And I think what's really cool is that Kevin Owens is like, but I understand what you're doing, but you don't have to. But both people could be right. And I think that that's fantastic for this. Absolutely fantastic.
I think it's a really, really good pairing because I think Kevin Owens is really one of the best workers that the company has on all fronts. Promos, in-ring work, everything. He's frankly, if he had the physique, I'm convinced Vince would be pushing him to Mars and back. Like I love Kevin Owens. I always have. A fan of his indie work all the way through. He's been fantastic and such an anchor for this. And the pairing, like you said, is fantastic. And I agree. Both guys sort of being right in their own way. I think it makes it very, very compelling. I think it's good stuff. We have Ben in the chat, who I know is a big Kevin Owens fan as well. He says Owens is going to carry Roman and make him look like money. I mean, if there's a guy who is going to be more than willing to take an absolute whooping to make the other guy look like $1 million, it's going to be it's Kev. This is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. This is one of the matches this is the match I'm most excited to see. Who you got winning here? Do you have Roman retaining, or does KO win the Universal Championship again?
I think Roman to retain, but I think the reason why he'll retain is that Kevin will try to help main event Uso, and I think that's going to increase the fractures of that family. But I think main event Uso is going to do something and it's not going to go right. Kevin Owens is going to go and try to help him, and Roman will take advantage of that and beat him.
See, here's one thing that's been bugging me since Roman has become head of the table. Roman, I want him to win a big match without any shenanigans. I want him to have a clean, clear-cut win. Like, I can understand like a Clash of Champions, not Clash of Champions at SummerSlam. That's Survivor Series. Jesus, I'm getting there. I'm waking up.
Sorry, there's 100 pay-per-views a year. Don't worry about it.
He fights Drew, and I can understand where WWE is like, oh, well, we need to protect Drew because he's the champion on one end. So there's the, but at what point do you stop protecting everyone all the time, and you just like go right in and say, hey, you know what? Roman Reigns is such a badass in this company now. He is the top guy. He's beaten the other world champion that we got. Like, this is how big a deal it is. And Drew wouldn't have suffered because he lost to the top guy, right? Like the guy where you're like, regardless, it wouldn't have been that big a deal. And then you have Drew sort of dust himself off, and then months down the road, maybe at next Survivor Series, both guys are still champion, and he's like, Roman, I'm coming for you again, and I'm ready this time, kind of thing. And So then what do you have? You have sports-centric storytelling right there, where Drew is like, I lost. That's fine. But I'm moving on from this. And I'm going to get better. And next time, I got you, Roman. I have your number next time. And maybe he does next time. Or maybe he doesn't. And then we revisit that down the road. Then you have like this meta feud that exists where you can just like go back to, kind of like what they do in New Japan, really, which makes a lot of stuff compelling. You know, where it's Kenny Omega didn't beat Kazuchika Okada the first time, the second time, not even the third time they fought. You know, when it was that series, it took him 4 times before finding the formula to beat the guy. That's how you build contenders and champions and future stars at the same time. You know, and that's what I want with Roman. I want him to come in and get a good, clean win over Kevin, not because I hate Kevin, because I don't think it hurts Kevin Owens in any way, shape, or form, and it helps Roman Reigns, and it helps build a star, someone that you're like, this guy is invincible. Who is going to defeat him? That, because ultimately that's your storyline with Roman. And I'm ranting, I'm sorry, but that is your story ultimately with Roman. Who can beat Roman Reigns?
That is a valid rant. And you know what the thing is like, I would love to see him shenanigan win the whole way through. And then in a little bit of a turnabout fair play, beat the crap out of Goldberg at WrestleMania in like 15 seconds. Yeah, spear, jackhammer. He does that.
Oh, because Goldberg can't lift anyone anymore, so of course it has to be Roman.
Goldberg can't lift anyone. Exactly. So Roman beats him, like 15 seconds. Essentially, we have what Goldberg did to Brock. And I think at that point, that's number one, the only way that Goldberg, I think, in my mind, should be allowed to come back. And that should almost be like a penance, like a kind of, hey, yeah, have you seen that guy Sting's over on the other side? He ain't doing this kind of crap. He's not making no demands. He doesn't even have matches. Like, by that point, he's probably had a match, actually. But, like, it could be, I think that's, Roman, I totally agree with you. Roman has almost come across as, even though he could do it, he's taken the shortcuts. And I think we need to have him have that definitive win. But yeah, it's like, who does he have it over? Because SmackDown's almost like a delicate ecosystem sometimes.
Yes, good point.
So few people, if you, like Jey Uso coming up the way that he did, god damn, like that was really good. I was like, in my opinion, I didn't think that could happen on SmackDown, for someone to be essentially taken from like of quite a low rank down in like the lower mid card ish, and just push into the main event. And now they feel like a main eventer, and they're not that other Uso. They are main event Jey Uso. So the question is who do we bring out to beat him? And could it be the heel that they keep saying they don't want to? Could it be Lars Sullivan? Like, could we just have Lars Sullivan come out? I know, but at least it would be a good thing. But not for Lars, but for all of us, just for him to be defeated really quickly. But I don't think there's anyone left on the SmackDown roster that I'd want him to beat clean. Like, that's definitely something that's really interesting, actually.
Thing is you have to build stars. But I know you can argue that WWE is no longer in the business of building stars, right? And, you build Roman. Roman is hot. Roman is hotter than he's ever been on main roster. And people are accepting him. People love his role. It fits him. I don't think anyone would feel that he's being pushed down our throats if he started getting clean wins off of folks. I think it'd be like, you have a hot property right now. Push it. Push him. Like, make him an invincible heel. Turn him into Thanos. That's essentially it. And and maybe it will take the Avengers to take him down. Maybe it won't be just one guy. And that'd be fantastic. Anyway. Who we got? I think Roman retains. I think that's what you said as well. With some Jay shenanigans.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, definitely.
Last match that we are going to talk about is the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles. Again, another table, ladders, and chairs match. I'm straight off the bat, I am thrilled about this match. I'm excited to see it because it's fresh. We've never had this match before. WWE has not given it to us on a Monday Night Raw. I'm excited to see it because it's the first time that these two guys are going to go. Drew is at the prime of his career right now. AJ is the perfect guy to make Drew look like $1,000 million, and just guide through an excellent match. I can't see this match being anything less than really, really, really good. Dare I say great.
Absolutely agree. This is one of the reasons why TLC matches are around, matches like this. And whereas the other heavyweight championship match for the Universal Championship doesn't necessarily have to be a TLC match, this one I feel. And I think it's really cool. Like, we've obviously got the extra story of like Miz flying around with the Money in the Bank briefcase, and like they had that thing on Raw last week where they spoke about what might happen when Morrison gets involved and stuff, and Miz comes and cashes. You know, again, an amazing match between two wrestlers we haven't seen have this kind of match before head on, and a really interesting bit of storyline wraparound as well. I think it's also really interesting because with everything happening outside of this world at the moment, is this a chance for potentially a stable to be built around AJ? Like, I don't think he's necessarily going to win, but this could be a nice time for the WWE to kind of revisit that, giving AJ a stable. And this could be that kind of match, but definitely impressed to see what, like I just want to see how insane of a Claymore AJ's willing to take. Because if he's willing to take one off the top of a ladder into a table, or into another ladder, we're going to get to see some cool stuff. Like, just two absolute, like, this is the match for them. A TLC match. This is one of my highlights of the night.
I think it should be fantastic. And yeah, yes, you know, there has been storylining and gimmicks around it, like you said, with Miz and the briefcase and all of that. But I think this, like, the soul essence, like the essence of this match in and about itself is so very interesting, and it's not a conversation we have all that often with WWE. Like, to say this is a very interesting match. It's a fresh match. We haven't seen this before. I'm excited to see this one because I really think Drew, and I'm not definitely not implying that AJ is going to carry Drew, because I don't think Drew is that kind of wrestler. I don't think he needs to be carried to a good match. I think he has the stuff to do it himself. What I'm saying is that AJ, because we know AJ's not going to be afraid. He's going to bump like a madman. He's just going to look great for Drew on top of everything. You know, I think Drew retains here personally, and I think I think he retains because I feel like he's there. He's the champion they want at WrestleMania. You know what I mean? I think he's the WWE champion they want. What do you think? Who wins here?
I'd very much agree. I very much agree with you that Drew retains. And I think, like, the Miz Morrison thing, I think that's something that will just fly around the championship for the next few months. I don't see him cashing in that night. And if he attempts to, Drew will just swat him away with one of his big hands. Swat him away. He'll be like, no, you're not getting involved in this. So yeah, the only other option I could see, and I don't see it happening, is that Miz starts, as the match starts, he comes in and says, "Hello, I'd like to be involved in this TLC match, please." But
that'd be a bummer.
See that
honestly,
that would be a
kind of
waste to admit. That would be a real waste.
Yeah, you know, kind of thing. Shit, none of them fell like within frame. They all fell over there.
Special effects.
Next time I'll get the CGI ready. Is there a cash-in? No cash-in?
No. I don't think so. I hope not.
Well, successful or not is, whether or not. Do you think Miz? Do you think Miz tries?
As I said, I think he tries to come in and make the cash in, but it doesn't happen. So like, it's a failed cash in that sense. In like, the cash in doesn't.
Okay, it just doesn't happen, but it doesn't like challenge and lose. Okay.
No. Yeah. So he tries to use the briefcase, and then he decides not to, or he's already won the match. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, no change.
I think there will be Miz shenanigans. I think he will try. I think we got to get this one. We got to get this one out of the way, I feel. And, I'm even half expecting Sheamus to get involved in to try and keep Miz from doing stuff. Because I think the Drew Sheamus feud upcoming, I think it might be a nice little program leading into WrestleMania, but not actually being a WrestleMania match, because I think Sheamus is doing fantastic work, by the way. Like, again, we were talking about the bingo cards earlier on. Who would have expected, like in late 2020, to see fucking Sheamus having some damn good matches on Monday nights? Like, he's been having some really good matches. So his match with AJ, fantastic stuff. Like, I thought it was really, really good. So I kind of like, despite that, I don't think he has the main event luster anymore, and that's okay, because I don't think that's necessarily where he would shine the best, but I do think that some friction between he and Drew, a challenge, could be a friendly challenge, doesn't have to be hateful or whatever, but I think we might find some roots here moving into Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I think that friendly challenge would be quite nice. I think between them, like, just to kind of have that kind of, hey, I bet you can't beat me, bet I could. Well, let's do it then. Yeah. I challenge you to a duel. Like, I think
exactly, because cool. Because we're all under the thumb of the British Empire. Let's fight each other. Oh well, not Sheamus. Sheamus, not anymore. Just go.
Pip pip cheerio. Pip pip cheerio.
So there you have it. Those are our predictions for WWE TLC. Overall, final thought: good show, average show, bad show. What are you expecting overall from this?
I'm thinking good. I'm in a good show.
I think so too. I think in vacuums, this is the thing, is that we always talk about the build-ups and everything, but especially towards the second half of the year, WWE pay-per-views have been good to great. They really, there's been some missteps, and they're not top to bottom fantastic shows, but their pay-per-views have been really good in vacuums. They've delivered. It's just that simple. There hasn't been one where it's like, this has been bad from top to bottom. Not since Money in the Bank, if I'm not mistaken, where I thought that Money in the Bank was sort of ugh. From that point on, they've been consistent in having entertaining pay-per-views, especially the ones that are shorter. And I feel that's what we're getting tonight.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. I think it's going to be one of those 2-hour 35, 2-hour 40 style. The ones where, as you're watching it, you're like, "Wait, is that it? Is it over?
It's
over?"
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm in my mid 40s, cool. So I'm like, if I can get to bed before 10.
Exactly. If I can get to bed before 7 a.m. on Monday, I'm happy about that as well.
Fowl, it was a pleasure to talk to you, sir. It had been too long since I had you on the show. Let the people know where they can find you, follow you, make sure that they have everything bookmarked and at the ready to dive into your universe.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Warren. It's always a pleasure to be on here. And yeah, it's been way too long. I'm going to do this again sometime. So, hello. My name is Fowl Original. You can find me on YouTube Fowl Original, youtube.com/Fowl Original Wrestling. Also find me on Twitter at Fowl_original. You can get involved in BSOTR, which is Bright Side of the Ring, every single Wednesday. That Twitter tweet goes up at some point on a Tuesday. When it comes to the weekly wrestling recap, which is a weekly show where we talk about wrestling, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. UK time. It's all live on youtube.com/Fowl Original Wrestling. You can also watch it later on if you want to. And then what else? Go to patreon.com/Fowl Original. Why not, if you would? Because there's an album on there if you'd like, and there'll be a Christmas album on there in the next few days. Patreon tiers start from $1. There you go. I think that's all of the things.
There you go. Well, that it's very cool. Hey, I get into that Christmas album. Are you doing I'm the Happiest Christmas Tree? Are you covering that one? Ho ho ho, he he he.
So I should.
You really should.
Like, okay, so the three. Oh, that would be quite nice, actually. Like, okay, I'll look into it. I will look into it. But right now there'll be 3 tracks on there, and it's a Christmas miracle if they get on there before Christmas Day.
Well, I don't want to add on any work, but I'll tell you, you'd get a big pop out of me if you did Dominic the Donkey as a Christmas song.
Dominic the Donkey. Dominic
You've never
the
heard
Donkey.
That one?
This sounds like.
Oh no, it's a legitimate Christmas song.
Is this Canadian from
It's an Italian donkey. Lou Monte.
An Italian
Lou Monte
donkey.
was originally put that one out. Dominic the Donkey. Check it out. It's on the same level as the Happiest
Dominic
Christmas Tree. Trust me.
Oh my god!
And it might also be like just slightly offensive for our 2020. Just slightly offensive for our 2020 feelings, I guess, but it's still ridiculous.
Might just sing this to myself.
If anything. But do check him out. Do follow Fowl everywhere. He gave you all the links. Thank you very much again, Fowl, for joining me today. And thank you everyone who joined us live in the chat or are listening at their own accord. I appreciate it a great deal. If you liked it, give the video a thumbs up. You know how that stuff works. It's always appreciated. Thank you all so very much. Enjoy TLC. See you next time.